So let me get y'all hip to this debacle on Facebook right now. Mind y'all, I don't watch Real Housewives of anything, right? So I don't know who this woman is or any of the backstory around it, right? But somebody posted a picture of apparently Larsa Pippen and says she defends wearing box braids on Real Housewives of Miami vacation. I'm not white. Okay, now, we're going to have a whole conversation about that, right? But I want to talk about a comment somebody left under it, right? So a white woman left a comment and said, my granddaughter, who is 11, loves her box braids. She has long, beautiful hair, but likes the look and the no fuss. If it's culturally inappropriate and I tell her that, isn't that teaching racism? She has friends and family with all types of skin colors, from white to brown to black, and she doesn't even know what being racist means. If I tell her wearing box braids is inappropriate, how do I do it? I love the look and I don't think skin color is an issue. What do you think? We're going to get right into this because, like, y'all. Now, first of all, I'm going to respond to Larsa Pippen saying, I'm not white. Didn't nobody ask, okay? Clearly, I'm looking at this woman and she not black, all right? Box braids are not something that's for non-white people. It's for black people. I feel like a lot of aspects of black culture get colonized and appropriated by other groups, and then they defend it by saying, but I'm not white, right? Like, I see this on the internet all the time when people call out like Mexicans and other groups of Hispanics for using the N-word, right? And they always respond, but I'm not white. Didn't nobody ask? The N-word is not for people who are not white. It's for black people. So why are you sharing that you're not white? That has nothing to do with this, right? But now let's actually get into this comment, right? So this woman said that her granddaughter, who is 11, loves her box braids, so and so and so. If it's culturally inappropriate, how does she... No, she said if it's culturally inappropriate and she tells her that, isn't that teaching racism? Okay, that's the first thing I'm going to respond to. How is you teaching your grandchild that something is culturally inappropriate racism? Like, are you serious? Like, I sometimes... Now, this is my thing. I'm one of those people, I'm a very great teacher, okay? I hate when somebody makes you feel dumb when you ask a question, and you're just trying to understand, right? But sometimes when somebody asks some shit so dumb and it's like, you cannot be serious. There's no way you're not playing right now. You said that telling her that her wearing box braids is culturally inappropriate is teaching her racism. Like, what? I mean, like... My thing is, yes, it's teaching her that racism exists, but clearly that's not what she was saying. She's saying it's teaching her to be racist or something like that. Like, yo, huh? Like, what do y'all be talking about, right? So then she goes on to say she has friends and family with all types of skin colors, from white to brown to black, and she doesn't even know what being racist means. Okay, let's stop here, right? She said her granddaughter is 11 and doesn't know what being racist means. Now, let's go interview 100 black 11-year-olds. I promise you, they all know what being racist means because they don't have the luxury of going through this life this tone deaf and unaware because these things actually affect them. So little Becky, she gets to be 11 and not know that racism exists because it doesn't affect her, right? But black kids her age, they don't have that luxury. In fact, I went to a school, this wasn't that long ago. It had to be like 2021 or something because it was after COVID, right? I remember we was wearing masks, okay? So just so y'all know that I teach chess sometimes. I go to different schools and I teach chess. So this was a school in Detroit. I'm not going to specify which school, right? But this was a K-5 school, okay? The oldest kids in this school were fifth graders, right? And I remember they had these things on the wall. I think it may have been Black History Month or something. I don't remember if it was Black History Month or not, right? But you know how like in elementary schools, they have like the pictures and stuff that the kids painted on the walls, right? So you walk through the hallway, you can see the pictures and all of this other stuff, right? So they had these things that they had written about, and they were talking about like George Floyd and stuff, right? Mind you, again, this is a K-5 class. I forget which grade specifically wrote about this, but the oldest they could have been was fifth grade. Excuse me, I said K-5 class. I meant K-5 school, right? The oldest they could have been was fifth grade, and they were talking about George Floyd. By 10 years old, Black kids are already aware of George Floyd and Black Lives Matter and all these other things, right? By 10 years old. But you got an 11-year-old granddaughter you talking about, she doesn't even know what being racist means. I feel like that is such that is such an injustice. That is such an injustice. Imagine we lived in Germany and somebody was like, yeah, my German granddaughter doesn't even know what the Holocaust is. How do I explain it to her, my dog diggity? It would be like, yo, what? Why would you not teach her something like this, right? And then it's the fact that you are sitting here ignoring something that still affects Black people today, that you still benefit from today. It's not even like it's just history. Oh, that was so long ago. Let's not even talk about it. It's something that still affects us to this day. And you sitting here telling me you didn't even give enough damns to teach your granddaughter about this, even though this is something that she benefits from. Now she's going to grow up telling Black people, my dog diggity, racism doesn't exist. I never heard of this. I wonder fucking why. Maybe because, it's not going to harm you. Like, what? This woman goes on to say, if I tell her wearing box braids is inappropriate, how do I do it? I don't fucking know. You're the grandmother. You've been a parent before. Now you're a grandparent. I would assume that you've had to have some hard conversations with your children and your grandchildren before. This is my thing. I'm not a parent yet, okay? But when I do have children, I'm going to figure out how to have a lot of hard conversations with my kids because I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to figure out how to have conversations about racism, about, like assault, tell my kids, be careful when you walking down the street, especially if you're a girl, if you have a daughter or something, right? I'm going to have to figure out how to have a lot of hard conversations with my kids and my grandkids, right? So you telling me that instead of figuring that out, you just sat here and ignored it? How do I do that? Bitch, why did you even have kids? I'm sorry to say this, but a lot of motherfuckers don't need to have kids. And I can't stand when I see white people say stupid shit like this. Oh, how do I teach my kids about racism? Bitch, I don't know. Figure it out. Figure it out. It's so irritating because it's like, I guess y'all are used to not having to raise your kids. Y'all are used to just pawning them off on Black people. Oh, mammy will take care of you, right? So to this day, you have no idea how to be a parent, how to be a grandparent. You sitting here talking about, how do I have a hard conversation with my granddaughter? Bitch, you already raised kids. I would be more understanding if you were a new parent. This was your first kid. You like, oh, I've never done this before. Bitch, your kids are grown. And you telling me you never figured out how to have a hard conversation with them? I don't think that makes any sense. Then she goes on to finish it up saying, I love the look and I don't think skin color is an issue. What do you think? I refuse to believe that white people are being genuine when they say stuff like this. Because I say all the time, we live in the same world. We live in the same exact world. So there's no way that I see these things and you don't see them. There's just no way, right? Now, I don't get into long drawn out back and forth with them on Facebook and stuff because quite frankly, I'm not getting paid to do that shit on Facebook. So I come to YouTube and I make a video about it where I'm getting paid. So if you're actually being legitimate about it, here you go. I'll teach you on YouTube. And if you're not, oh well, I'm still getting paid, bitch. So I am going to explain here on YouTube now what exactly the issue with this is. Now, this is my thing. I don't know if y'all be being willfully obtuse, like you know what's going on, you just trying to be funny, or if y'all really don't know, because white people have this thing where they repaint history for sure, right? And then if you say, hey, that's not how it actually happened, like we should teach the way that it actually happened, they'll be like, oh, that critical race theory. You're so what is critical race theory? It's literally just history the way that it actually happened instead of white people rewriting it. Like white people have rewritten the Civil War. They managed to convince themselves that it was not about hatred. It was not about enslaving Black people. They have managed to convince themselves the Civil War was not about slavery. Like, this is what I'm talking about, right? So maybe some of them out here really are confused on this topic because they don't learn any actual reality. They grow up being delusional, okay? So let me tell you a personal example, something that happened to me. This is not something I heard of happened to so-and-so. No, this is something that happened to me in 2021, I believe, right? So I went in for a job interview, all right? And it went pretty well, okay? I'm a great interviewer. Look, I have a good personality, okay? The job interview went pretty well. So then we got to the end of the interview. Now, mind you, the woman interviewing me was a white woman, okay? Now, at the time of this interview, I had dreadlocks in my hair, okay? So the woman interviewing me says, oh, let's go over the appearance standards. I'm like, oh, okay, sure, right? Because I'm expecting the appearance standards to be something like, oh, no blue jeans. You have to wear business casual or something, right? So this woman literally says, oh, no dreadlocks and no cornrows. So I'm sitting there looking at her because I literally had dreadlocks in my hair, right? So I'm sitting there looking at her And then I'm just like, oh, okay. Like, and then I just leave and I sue that business. And would you believe that I lost? Would you believe that I lost? Even though I had proof that they said it. It wasn't like, they lied and said, oh, we didn't say that. No, I got them to write it in an email to admit that they did it. And then I showed, whoever, oh, yeah, they actually did say this. I still lost, right? Because this is the thing, right? This is the reality that black people face, okay? Racism never went away. It just takes different forms, right? So now, instead of a job saying, oh, we don't hire niggers, now they'll say, oh, we don't hire people with dreadlocks or cornrows. Two hairstyles that are black hairstyles, quite clearly, quite literally. Now, some white person is going to comment and say, well, my dog diggity. Well, I know a white man with dreadlocks, good for you, right? The fact remains, we know good and well dreadlocks and cornrows are black hairstyles. Are we really finna sit here and act stupid? That's like me saying, oh yeah, if you darker than the paper bag, then you can't come here. But that's not racist, because maybe a white person got a real dark tan. So, that could affect some white people too. We all know good and well this is affecting black people. This is targeting black people, right? And if you come and you comment talking about, oh, well, that's not necessarily about black people, you're just playing dumb. There's no way that you're serious. But again, thank you for being here saying this stupid shit, because I am getting paid for it. I do appreciate that. This white woman commented, I love the look and I don't think skin color is an issue. What do you think? It doesn't matter what you think, bitch. Let's pretend that you really are legitimate with that. Let's pretend that you really are not racist. You really don't think that skin color is an issue. Guess what? It still is for so many people. So you still need to teach your children and your grandchildren that skin color affects many people's lives. Yeah, you can sit here talking about, I don't think skin color is an issue. Girl, sure, right? Cool, good for you. But the fact remains that a lot of your people think skin color is an issue. And that means that people like me have issues because of our skin color. So you sitting here ignoring the issue and pretending that it doesn't exist because, oh, well, I'm not one of the bad ones. I mean, like, if you are silent in the face of oppression, you've taken the side of the oppressor. It's that simple. So even if you really not racist and you really don't think skin color is an issue, the fact that you sit here and you be quiet while you see people around you thinking that it's an issue and you pretend that it doesn't exist and you don't teach your children about it means that you're an oppressor too. It's very, very easy to see. I just don't understand. I don't get it. This woman talking about if it's culturally inappropriate and I tell her that, isn't that teaching racism? White people pretend that everything but racism is racism. So when actual racism happens, they'll be like, that's not racist, my dog diggity. That's just, someone being a sour Sally. But then when somebody asks them to teach their children, their grandchildren, the fact that racism exists and it still affects people, then it's, oh, well, isn't that racism, my homie? What are you talking about? Like, in fact, let's talk about an example, something that just happened recently, right? So the mayor of Baltimore, he's a black guy, right? Y'all heard about how that ship hit the bridge in Baltimore and knocked it down. A bunch of white people are like, oh yeah, that DEI mayor, yeah, like this is what happens when you have a diversity hire for the mayor. How was he supposed to keep the bridge from getting hit by a boat that lost power? And how is it his fault that our infrastructure has not kept up with the rising demands of, our growing transportation needs, right? How is any of that his fault? It's not. But white people have this thing where they make everything racist. So just because he black, they're going to say, oh, well, yeah, he's a diversity hire. Even though he was the most qualified person, clearly, if he got voted in for mayor, right? He's still a diversity hire just because he's black, right? There are so many instances of racism all around us. And you telling me your stinking ass can't figure out how to talk about none of it with your granddaughter? I'm sorry, but a lot of y'all need your children taken away by CPS. A lot of y'all are just unfit to parent. It's really so obvious. Let me make something clear. If you are not ready to have hard conversations with your children and your grandchildren, then don't have children. Okay, and this is not even just about white people refusing to teach their children about racism so that they raise even more ignorant ass white people talking about race doesn't exist, my homie, It's not even just about that. It's just about people, period, having kids and then not equipping them with the tools to be worthwhile members of society. You telling me you raising white kids to not even acknowledge, the oppression that other groups go through so that they can be privileged? That's what you telling me? That's not a worthwhile member of society. So you telling me you having kids, you having grandkids, and you have no intention on teaching them how to live in a society in the best way possible. And like I said, it's not even just specific to white people in this refusal to teach their children about racism. It's about anybody having kids and refusing to teach their kids about the very real stuff that goes on in the world just because it doesn't affect them personally. So they don't care, basically. In 2024, literal black women cannot wear our own hairstyles. You telling me if I go to a job interview in 2024 with my hair, with a black hairstyle, I can be told, oh yeah, that's against the appearance standards. But your white ass granddaughter and Larsa Pippins can wear some box braids and everything is good in the hood. And it's a slap in the face because y'all sit here and y'all act obtuse about this, but you know good and well in your lifetime, it's not even like, oh, your parents didn't teach you, oh, your grandparents didn't teach you. You know good and well the things that you have said and the people around you have said about black women's hair. Y'all know good and well y'all stay calling us nappy headed, saying our hair is hard and ugly, so and so and so, yada yada yada. Y'all know good and well the type of shit that y'all have said about black women's hair, and then you turn around and you act like it's just fucking hair and it's not that big of a fucking deal when you wear our hairstyles that we get demonized for wearing. Like, y'all are just so ugh.